Del Didway. He is in the Rendezvous Green Room, ready, willing, and able. Our YouTube live stream is locked on and in sync. All cameras are on, they are aimed, they are in focus. Monitors 1 and 2 standing by. Nebula background is in place. We'll switch to the live studio in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am glad you're here. I'm glad to be here. Tonight is a very special night. I have so much, I'm just kind of oozing all kinds of good stuff. I will share more about that after we have heard from our weekly guest. We are so honored to have Del Didway join us every Tuesday night and share. And I don't know if you have read his blog, okay? If you have not, you should. And let me help you. Okay, what I'll do is I'll make it real easy for you. Okay, let me put his name and how do you spell his name, most importantly, up on the screen. Go to deldidway.com, and if you don't know how to spell Del Didway, don't try to spell it phonetically, please. That is how you spell it, deldidway.com. He blogs every Tuesday, normally, on the topic of sports, and he finds these, this is what I love about him. He finds these sports figures with a positive thing, a testimony or something charitable in the community and worthwhile and good, and he interviews them and then blogs about them, and then he weaves in even more scripture and connects to those. It's just, he's building, and that's what we do here at PJNet Live. This is a place of encouragement. This is a place of hope, of building strength and supporting one another. I'm glad you're here. I want to say welcome. We have some special, we have some guests. Let me just kind of run down through the roster. Hazards 4, he is here with us as always. Michelle Medlock Adams has joined us. I'll have more to say about her. The cheerleader of faith at the end of the show. Tammy from Georgia is here. Virginia Garrett is here. Welcome to those of you. If it's your first time here, I'm just thrilled. You've made my day, and but for now, since I made the arrangements and we have a contract, a multi-million-dollar contract with Del Didway, let's turn the studio over to him in his library. Del, you've today's blog not about sports.
Not even close.
I read it kind of hurriedly because I feel like I'm kind of in a blender today. But first of all, did you realize isn't it a little bit longer than your blogs normally run?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, my first draft was incredibly long, and I whittled it down as much as I could, and because I like to keep them about 800 words, just almost double that. But I just couldn't get it down as much as I would like. But it had a lot of important information in it, a lot of opinions, and a lot of way I back up my opinion in it. So I whittled it down as much as I could, but it was I really could have done 2 or 3 blogs on this.
Well, I was glad to see you bring up the topic of basically what we're talking about. The title is something to the effect of Die with Dignity, but the topic is euthanasia. Mm-hmm. A topic that's hard to talk about. I mean, I have trouble. I mean, I love my dog, but sometimes, have you ever looked at your dog and thought the day's going to come when I have to make one of the hardest decisions that you'll make, and you're doing the right thing, but it's still hard. But that's a dog.
It's a dog. Yeah.
But now we're actually seeing a movement, and I don't want to talk so much about the movement as I want to talk about the agenda. There's this movement of dying with dignity and a right to die.
Right.
And you have some things to say in your blog about it, so let me just let you unwind a little bit.
Well, thanks. And first I want to say hi to Michelle and everybody. Got my TikTok mug here from the diner in New York City. So
which is
my favorite mug now.
In reverse because you use an iPad. But
yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm sorry. It says Talk Tick here on this.
Yeah, get a real camera, Del.
Yeah, get a real camera. No, euthanasia. I hadn't planned on blogging on this, but I did see the piece earlier this week on what's going on in Maine and how the state Senate and House of Representatives have passed, squeaked by this Death with Dignity Act. And now, if it's signed into law, Maine will be the 8th state which will permit a physician to administer lethal medication to a patient that they deem unworthy to live, or they may say this person doesn't have a chance to live. They're going to suffer. We might as well help. We might as well put this banana peel right out in front of them, help them slip off. And they disguise this brilliantly. Mm-hmm. They play on it. They play on emotion. They use the word compassion, mm-hmm. death with dignity a lot. Mm-hmm. And what it basically is they're killing a person, right? It started back with abortion. They kill them in the womb, and now they let them die outside the womb. Now the slippery slope we're on is if your mom and dad's sick, terminally ill, we don't want to take care of them. That's an inconvenience. Let's just kill them and call it compassion and death with dignity. And it's scary because it is here. And we were talking earlier, back when Sarah Palin was running for vice president, she made a statement about these death squads are coming. They're here.
They're here.
They're here. And it's in America. And this will be the 8th state to legalize euthanasia.
Well, this is a slippery slope because I don't want to get into the weeds about the details and the wording and the wordsmithing of the legislation, but the way they sell this, and this is politics, folks. Let me give you an example. In Florida, they sold the lottery as something for education. All this money was going to go into education. That's the sales pitch. Now, what happened is, yes, the money goes into education, but the education budget was defunded so that the level of funding for education really didn't change. Do you see the sinister agenda behind this? So now the sales pitch is that this person has, they're terminally ill. There's no hope for recovery. There's no hope for any meaningful life, and we're just going to end the suffering. Doesn't that sound so reasonable? I mean, yeah. All right, but
Coach, you're a very compassionate man.
Yeah, right. And but this is a slippery slope because it starts there, and and then what about gosh, Grandpa's getting old, and I've got I'm really advancing in my career. I don't really have time to go care for him and sit at his bedside, and basically I don't have that much compassion anyway. So here's what I'll do. We'll just let him die with dignity. When really what they mean, it's just like abortion. It's a matter of convenience. This life has become an inconvenience to my narcissistic self, so therefore I'm going to take charge of that life. Mm-hmm. I'm talking too much. Del, does the doctor make this decision by himself, or does the patient have anything to say about it?
It's a combination. The doctor comes in, and this happens in the Netherlands. It just happened last weekend in the Netherlands, which has been, they have legalized euthanasia for years. You read about the piece with a 17-year-old girl who went into the clinic because she was depressed and wanted to die. And they killed her. They let her die because she was depressed. And that was their justification of letting her die, was, she's depressed.
Depression is not a terminal illness.
No, she wants to die over in the Netherlands.
Yeah,
you can do that. Mm-hmm. So I gave some examples. One is a gentleman who goes to our church, stage 4 cancer. I saw him 15 years ago. Walked in our church door, was yellow, was the color of my shirt. He was dead. He was walking dead. I didn't know him. He was stage 4. He had pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. Was dying, was told he had 4 weeks to live. That was 15 years ago. And in fact, I was in a meeting with him tonight. So doctors can be wrong. God can heal. But we're taking that chance away. We're taking those opportunities away and the other example was my dad. Holy cow. My dad his death was a beautiful thing that we would not have experienced had we said, Daddy, you're dying of lung cancer. It's going to be a miserable death. You're not going to recover from this. Let's just go ahead and end it now.
Well, something that I didn't see in your blog, Dale, and I want to convey to you, I think we may be having some difficulties with the live stream. I don't want to take time out to figure it out. I'll be watching the chat room. If you're seeing it buffer, let me know. There's nothing I can do about it. But sure. Dale, here's something that I didn't see in your blog that I think is very important that we talk about. Let's say that you have an unbeliever who is in a end of life scenario.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have found their conversion at the moment of death, found the Lord? This
Yeah.
has repercussions to eternity.
Oh, yeah. And I try not to get into the gospel when I'm talking with social issues because of just this reason. Somebody said, "Well, I don't believe in God," so to me, your point is
Hmm.
is worthless.
Hmm.
So, but I do try to get it in there at the end. But there are numerous accounts. There's a lady in our church who that's all she does is she goes to meet with people who are terminally ill, dying, and she prays with them.
Hmm.
And that luxury of that next step to heaven won't be there if they're allowed to take their own life and if a doctor is allowed to come in and kill somebody. And we're not going to call it euthanasia. We're going to call it killing the
Yeah,
patient because that's what they're doing. They're killing the
yeah. You
patient.
euthanize dogs
Yes.
as an
Yes.
act of
So,
love, a final act of love. And
or a
and when you
horse or something. Yeah.
right, but when you think about it, we already have hospice.
Mm-hmm.
We already recognize that there is some point at which the goal of the treatment is no longer to restore life, but rather to comfort.
Yes.
We have palliative care, along similar guidelines. So recent advances in medical technology has prolonged life and has brought this issue more to the forefront. But that's not what's driving it, Dale. What's driving it is a culture of death.
Oh yeah. That's all it's about. The abortionist. It's all about money. That's all it's about. There's no choice. There's no subtle hints here and there. It is about the green. It's about money
Mm-hmm.
and become. That's all Planned Parenthood wants. Abortions are very expensive.
Right.
This is also going to be about money. This is also going to be about death squads, and it's going to be about getting rid of people because of our selfish life. And we need to get back to the Andy Griffith days of sitting on the porch and cherishing people. Because I gave the example with when my mom, where I found her unconscious in the floor in the afternoon. I mean, it would have been simple just to say, she's dead.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that. Kicked into gear. We got her to the hospital, and she later died that night. But that culture today just wouldn't do that. Some people, and I would hope they would, but it's about they took care of me when I was a child when I couldn't take care of myself. It's about taking care of people and loving people.
Well, and I blame it on, or I shouldn't say blame. I attribute a lot of what's happened to the Industrial Revolution. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, you had not the nuclear, but the extended family living under the same roof. You had no less than 3 generations right there, and of course, Grandma took care of the baby. While mom and dad took care of the farm chores, and then as the baby got old enough, that baby started helping with the farm chores, and then as grandma got, basically the family took care of each other through these stages of life, which is quite normal. But then the Industrial Revolution took the man out of that scenario and into the workplace, and now women have joined men. This created the vacuum we now have. So, the cost of healthcare, an entire industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry, all these retirement homes you see, and extended care. All these facilities, they cost a lot of money, and right now only the very rich can afford it. So, this person, we can't afford to, the taxpayers are funding all this in the dream of those people. So it's an economic decision.
Oh yeah, you hit that on the head because it's going to come down to this. It's going to come down to insurance and money.
Mm-hmm.
If a person is diagnosed with a terminal illness, they're taking up a bed. They can't pay for it. The physician's going to, and the board's going to come in and say, look, this person's going to die. We need this bed because there's a patient outside with money who can pay
Mm-hmm.
for it.
Mm-hmm.
We need to ease this person out the door. That's cold and callous, but that's reality. That's what's happening right now.
Here's another one.
And
Here's another one. Okay, coach, you're dying. It's going to take about 6 years. We'd like to make a contract with you. If you'll go ahead and die now, we will leave $250,000 to your estate because it'll save us money.
yeah, oh yeah,
That's
you're right.
cold and callous, but you know what? It makes economic sense. So don't think it can't happen.
Yeah. So the whole reason of the blog was, of course, I like politics. I'm involved in politics. I like social issues. I read that and I thought, this is insane. And I need to write something about it because I've been involved with Right to Life. I've spoken at numerous churches on the topic of euthanasia because it doesn't get a lot of press because it's not as, I won't say glamorous as abortion, but it's not as popular because you're dealing with a person's life, their documented life, their pictures. They've lived for 78 years. They have a history. And so it doesn't get a lot of the press that the abortion gets, but if you're pro-life, you're pro-life all the way, and that comes with somebody who's terminally ill. It doesn't have to be grandma or grandpa. It could be that 17-year-old girl in the Netherlands who was allowed to die because she was depressed.
Yeah. Is there any good news we can move on to?
yeah, exactly. Sorry to be a downer. Hey, next week's blog will be really cool. It's in fact, I had already written it, and then I saw this weekend. I thought, no, I'm going to blog about this.
So you finally felt...
I just finally felt the need to do that because it doesn't get a lot of, I don't say publicity. It doesn't get a lot of airtime.
Yeah.
Because,
now the comments on this blog that you wrote,
you get a lot of them.
More so than your sports stuff?
Oh, yeah. I've been called several things already. so that's fine. It's fine. And that's their opinion. I have my opinion. I'm right. And if they can't defend their argument, then that's fine.
And I agree with you. I encourage everybody to, let's have a discourse, let's have a dialogue. The problem is, of course, they want to use your audience to be the showcase of their challenging your opinion. It's like, well, why don't you go get your own blog and get your own audience because they can't. So they want to use your audience. Yeah, they want to use your audience as a shortcut. Yeah. And they want to hijack it for their agenda. So that's what I kind of don't like about it. But at the same time, I don't argue with people. I really don't.
And this will run in our paper Thursday, and I'll get a lot of reaction on that. But that's great. It's to encourage dialogue. And some people, I wrote one a few months ago about the Democrat Party, and I had several Democrats call me and says, you know what, I'm embarrassed about my party. I'm sorry. So I get both sides, but. You mentioned some good news. Yeah, there's a lot of good news. For me, as a new author, I'm very excited because, to some folks, this may not be a big deal, but to me, it was huge. It broke. I'm in the top 40 of on Amazon and devotional, so my book's ranked number 40 right now. I was real excited about that. I saw that today. I'm like, hey, I'm number 40. I broke into the big time now, so now I got to stay there.
Del, I have some great news, and I think rather than discuss this after you leave, I would like you to help me with this great news because you are very, very much substantially the reason for it. The good news is I'm saving 15% by switching my insurance to Geico. Michelle is with us in the chat room today. Now, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we had Michelle, or you had Michelle, join us from the Morton Steakhouse there in New York. And of course, you had mentioned her. I've kind of, I do actually read your posts, and you do mention her from time to time. and when I saw her, I just got this picture of a cheerleader, and then when you hear her talk, you begin to realize she is just oozing energy out every pore, and she's got a heart. Well, here's the good news, folks, and Del, thank you for facilitating it or whatever. Tomorrow night, if you are not coming here because you think no one will be live, you are mistaken, and it's not sadly. Listen, tomorrow night and every Wednesday night, Michelle Medlock Adams will be our regular guest here, and I am billing this as the cheerleader of faith. Folks, there is so much to know, and she's going to tell you all about it.
Yeah.
But Del, you've connected me with not only her, but an entire culture of writers out there that I didn't know. And this is how God works. This is why we need to have fellowship one with another. But Del, thank you. And tell us, introduce Michelle a little bit, because I have only known her a few minutes, But tell us about Michelle.
Oh, she's awesome. I'm not just saying that because I'd like for her to get off the chat so she won't hear this stuff. But Michelle is the reason, one of the reasons I am, and I'm not anybody, but I'm on my journey, and she's one of the big reasons I'm on my journey because I think she touched on it briefly 2 weeks ago. I reached out to her, she responded, and she didn't know me, but she took time to answer my question, and we had a conversation. And I was needing advice, and I was needing guidance, and she gave it to me. And now what started, and I didn't know who she was. I really didn't. I didn't know she was this big mega star. I really had no clue. I just thought she was a sports writer. I was like, all right, cool. So, and then I learned that I was like, oh my gosh, this person's, she's awesome. She's well known. She's famous. So, and now we go from that, from not knowing her 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, to now we're getting ready to submit a book together. So
Yeah,
it's been leaps and bounds. It's been a fast road, but Michelle is she's a heart of gold. She's energetic.
you might say.
She'll wear you out, but she's like my sister,
Yeah.
and my older sister. So I hope she heard that. So her and her husband are great, and that guy needs a lot of prayer, but he's Jeff's super guy, and my wife and I and her and Jeff have become good friends, and we just live a few hours apart. She lives over in Indiana, but she's awesome, and she will make you smile from the get-go.
I'm just tickled to death, and there's some others I won't mention right now. Hopefully, we'll mention them in the very near future.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's sort of like, I guess if this was Amway, she would be like your sponsor. I mean, she introduced you to the business.
Like Alcoholics Anonymous, she's my sponsor.
There
yes.
you go. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. She is one of the big reasons I am, again, not where I am, but on my journey, and I've got a long way to go. But and I always reach out to her. We reach out to and help each other. She showed me how everybody helps each other, because in some industries that's not always the case. They're always looking out for number one. But I was sat with her at the awards night. Everybody who won an award, she was clapping and cheering for them, and she was genuine about it. And we promote each other. I learned something years ago, a couple years ago at a conference on Facebook and Twitter. Share 5 or 6 of your friends' posts. And I do that, and then eventually they'll start sharing yours. So it's teamwork, and I think that's what I blogged about last week was teamwork, and that's what she has taught me and demonstrated to me. It's, hey, do yourself, but promote others. Promote others. Be genuinely happy for them. If they win something and you don't, and you're entered into it, be happy for them.
Right.
Because Michelle was happy for me when I beat her.
Well, she should be. We should be. As Christians, we really should have that kind of grace. How to be graceful in those situations. I look forward, and I've seen some of it already. One time you blogged about a young man who's starting a ministry in rapping. Now, I mean, really, Dale, you and I, we don't care much about rapping.
I'm not a rapper.
But you know what? It's great to reach out when a person approaches you in ministry to be their brother in Christ, to be their sister in Christ, encourage them, and not try to hold them back so that the spotlight shines more on you.
Well, that's, again, I go back to what Michelle did for me when she responded to my question and helped me. I've been approached by, I would say, a handful of people over the last couple of years. Hey, how do I get into writing? And I don't know them, but I think, hey, I take Michelle's approach, and she reached out to me to help me. So I do the same thing. Somebody says, hey, how do I, I'd like to get into writing. Well, you need to go to this conference. You need to do this. You need to start a website. You need to do a blog. So she taught me to help others like she helped me.
She's not only a good cheerleader, she's a good coach, and you've got a great team. So, Dale, that's some great news, and I'm glad that you courageously used your blog today, almost like a sacrificial offering, because you've got a darn good audience out there, and you kind of took a chance, because they're looking for that sports news.
I'll lose some people, but that's okay. Yeah, I just felt like it was on my heart, and I had to write that. Next week is one you really, I think you really like if you like football, because it's also helping to start the promotions for First Down Devotions, which will be out August 5th.
August 5th.
And we're starting that run of nonstop promotion. So that blog is going to kick that off, so to speak. So we're excited about that one.
So when do I get the pre-ordered? When will I get it?
Yeah, I never got it yet, so I don't know.
Well, I don't know if they fill the pre-orders before August 5th or not. I mean,
No, I don't think. I'm not sure about it. I'll find that out there for you.
I would think they would, just to start charging people's card, get some money coming in, and make them feel special that you get it first.
Yeah, as soon as I get my copies, you'll be getting yours. But we look forward to it, and we got a lot of events planned for this thing. A lot of good promotional stuff coming up on it, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, great. Well, Dell, this is the first time that you have known what next week's going to be about.
I know.
And I look forward to that. Dell, listen, thank you, one, for your courage today in sharing on a topic that is, difficult and challenging. But thank you for your ministry, brother. Thank you for what you're doing. I just know that you're going to hear God say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And we appreciate you taking your time to be here. You're very faithful, and that says a lot about your character, Dell. And I don't know where this is going, but I can't wait. I'm going to enjoy the ride.
It's a fun ride. Anytime I can have a TikTok diner mug with me, it's always a fun night.
Folks, that is not a paid endorsement. YouTube is listening. Okay, there you go. All right, well, Dell, listen, we look forward to seeing you next week. And Michelle, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Remember, I sent you an email. We got some work to do tonight. Okay, so let me wrap it up a little early. We'll see you. We will continue praising and worshiping and fellowshipping right here on PJNet Live.